record, it has fallen to me to perform the grave task of delivering her leaving speech to ensure that she really is leaving. You are definitely going, Jess? You're not? She is definitely going. Alright. She's not having any second thoughts. Okay, I'd like to put my hands up and state here right now that I never rated Jessica, and I certainly didn't want her on my elite team of what is rightly known as the Musgrave glory years. I'm sorry, that's glory years, sorry. As usual, my judgment has proven to be faultless. Such was the impression that Jess made on me that I was pretty sure she was there when I was made editor of Drapers Record in April 2000. In fact, she assures me she didn't arrive till November that year, so I must have been mixing her up with another gormless fashion bunny that was trembling in the corner of the fashion department, supposedly doing work experience. When she wheedled her way onto the best B2B weekly in the land, Jessica was, pretty unbelievably, a fashion knitwear student in her final year at Trent University. We all know it's actually only a polytechnic, but university sounds better. Taking much of the blame for this terrible development must be Nicola Wood, who has shown up. Well, then Deputy Fashion Editor of Drapers Record, who clearly followed a policy of only hiring gorgeous blondes like herself. Just to make clear, Nicola did not hire Carvey Mirza, he was already out. Anyway, Nicola interviewed Jessica and took her in for that fateful work experience stint in late 2000. When Jess subsequently told Nicola that she was thinking about giving up her course to work at Drapers Record, Miss Wood told her she was taking a huge risk. What did I know, says Nick. Indeed, what did any of us know? I had forgotten, till she told me, that Jessica actually jacked in her fashion course in the middle of her final year. Now that was very good use of taxpayers' money, Jessica. Before she was taken on at DR. Laughably, she also did work stints at other places, including women's magazines Red and Ms, and the right-wing propaganda rag, The Daily Mail. Now, an anarchist like Jessica at The Daily Mail really is a funny concept. Anyway, somehow, during 2001, Jessica, the now ex-student, managed to score quite a bit of fluffy fashion freelance work on Drapers Record, i.e. none of the important stuff, and so became something of a fixture around the office. Rather like a moth infestation, or wet rot, or genital herpes, once Jess got into DR, she was hard to get rid of. According to our former fashion editor Angela Sen, who is here, some of her Trent College lecturers were earnestly believed for ages that she would see the error of her ways and return to complete her knitwear degree. Unfortunately, that time limit was 8 years, and that passed 3 years ago. Angela reminded me that there's nothing wrong with Jessica's imagination, as during that period as a freelance, she managed to write a first-person account of being at New York Fashion Week without ever leaving BR's Goswell Road offices.
Scandal!
Jess was pretty chuffed about that, and very cleverly and astutely picked Zach Posen as designer of the week. At the time, Posen was a hot, rising young star. Apparently, according to Angela, I said, who? Never heard of him. I would have preferred an advertiser, but was Enrico doing the New York Fashion Week in those days? Back in her freelance days, before she knew better, Jessica enjoyed running around London, doing the off-schedule London fashion show things, all to fill just one measly page in Drapers Record. What sort of rubbish productivity is that? As Andrew admits, it was all so much fun, so innocent and free then. God, the fashion desk was cushy. Then Jessica moved to news, and then her demeanour changed.
Against my will.
Jess made the all-important leap to being a full-timer, partly inspired by the fact that Angela herself had not been a journalist before joining Drapers Record, but the difference was that Angela had been a highly proficient and experienced professional in the fashion business, with higher-powered jobs at places like Levi's. She was not a pushy chancer like our layabout student princess. My own recollection is way back when, in 2001 or 2, whenever the hell it was, persons including Nicola Wood, Sarah Nash and Louise Foster, who, to their credit, have not turned up tonight, were on the committee to get Jessica on the Drapers books, and I typically gave in to their constant bloody whining. Anything for a quiet life, that was my approach during my time as the editor. But as Angela says, having Jessica there full-time from about February 2002 seemed pretty natural and a perfect mix for most of us. Well, yeah, I suppose. If you want, could see it like that. But not for the first time in her career, the fearsome Lorna Hall was of a distant mind to all sensible people. When the grumpy she-tiger of the Drapers Record news desk, she told me that I told Jessica there was a job going as a news editor, and Jessica famously told me she didn't want to do news. Foolishly, I told Lorna, and back then Lorna wasn't the cuddly, fluffy WGSN fashion bunny that she has become.
It's horrible!
She was horrible. As she admits, saying she didn't like news was pretty much like waking a red rag in front of a snorting Pamplona bull. So, as Lorna's told me, I didn't want Jessica anywhere near my news desk. Eric insisted, and thank goodness he did, because although I probably gave Jess a very hard time for turning her nose up at what was undoubtedly the best job in the world, unquote, she became one of the finest journalists I've ever had the privilege of working with. Praise from Lorna, that is right. And as Nicola Wood recalls, Jess became a proper news hound and thought the fashion desk were a bunch of fluffy numpties. Fair comment there, I think, and explains why Laura Weir was made fashion editor. Once she settled into the news team, Jessica began her shameless climb up the ladder using all her womanly miles and that sexy body that is a tribute to the benefits of a strict booze and fags only diet.
Red!
She rebranded herself the young blonde, conveniently omitting the important adjective bottle before blonde. In these formative months, Jessica was lucky to fall under the spell of the expert tutelage of killer bimbos like Drapers, Diana Whitehead, Sarah Butler and Louise Foster. Footwear became one of the ex-knitwear students' specialities, and as Angela recalls, I haven't forgotten or recovered from Louise and Jessica working at the fair at GDS. But to remind ourselves just how far the girl of the evening has progressed in so many fields at Drapers, we must go back to Jessie's worky days and the infamous episode involving the taxi ride home to Reading. I'm obliged to Sir Alan Bingle for the following version of the legend. And there are plenty of witnesses here to embroider it even further.
Yes.
Following a particularly long team lunch, which Alan believes was a Christmas-based event, but I have it on good authority was Nicola Wood's 25th birthday, the work experienced Jess, then a virginal 22, joined Alan and colleagues Nicola, Sarah Nash, Shanna Pensiard and Barney Moore, harder drinkers, a lot of them, for a couple of extra drinks in the legendary Blue Angel hostelry in Islington.
Oh no.
Having already had a few port and lemons, and what you expect is from Nottingham when that's a sophisticated drink, it wasn't long before young Jess, who had yet to find her true journalistic drinking trousers, was beginning to show signs of wear and tear. As early as 8 p.m. that evening, she declared her love for Drapers record reporter Neil Craven.
Oh my God!
Who wisely hasn't shown up.
Yes!
Neil is a sweet-talking bloke from Leeds, who I know from many years of personal experience is a combination most sensible women find irresistible. After her shock confession, Jess decided it might be time to wend her way home. At the time, Jess was living in the fashion centre of Reading, and thus faced a lengthy trip across London even just to get to her train at Paddington. Seeing she was a little worse for wear, her caring colleagues got her into a cab to take her to the station and then quite rightly settled back